We began a scenario where Vegeta became immortal, defeating Frieza. Now with everything that's changed so far, what's Vegeta's next step? And more importantly, what's happening on Earth? We'll be covering all that and more in the second part of What If Vegeta Stayed Evil. More time passes. Those who haven't been revived yet are revived by Namek's Dragon Balls. And of course at some point, the Namekians are going to relocate because they don't want Vegeta coming back to find them. Again, they don't really think that Vegeta even knows they're still alive in the first place, so maybe they're fine, but it's not worth risking. Namek is left behind for an entirely new planet, and the planet's left intact just in case Vegeta does try to visit it again. Immediately when everyone got back to Earth, they were wondering what their next step could be. Kami agrees with what Piccolo thought too. They're not going to be able to wish away Vegeta's immortality. At least Shenron definitely won't be capable of that, and he doubts Porunga would be too. Even though Porunga was the one to grant it, again they'd be trying to make a wish on someone who doesn't want it to be made on them. Like, a good example of this is when Porunga was going to bring Goku back from Yardrat, Goku just flat out denied it. Porunga can't force someone to do something that they don't want. And Porunga's definitely not stronger than Vegeta, so even though he granted the wish, he's not going to be able to take it away unless Vegeta wants to take it away, which definitely isn't happening. It would be really risky to make the wish too, because then the dragon would have to try and communicate with Vegeta, which would let him know someone's trying to reverse the wish. So they're better off not even trying it. All they could do now is prepare for his return. And this gives more motivation for all of them to train, especially Goku. An immortal opponent's definitely interesting. Vegeta's also grown really strong from his fight with Frieza, but all those power boosts he got from being damaged, that can only take him so far. He can only exploit them to a certain point. They're definitely going to be diminishing gains, so he can't just keep doing that. Otherwise he'd be able to get infinitely powerful. Goku still doesn't really know too much about that, but he assumes Vegeta's going to have to lay off it for a while. Although Kami does have one really good suggestion. If Vegeta actually does end up becoming a problem, they could just use the Mafuba. Sure, they can't kill him, but there's nothing against stealing him. Well, if it comes to that, they definitely will do that. So they don't really have too much of a reason to worry about Vegeta right now. They're going to grow a lot stronger, and in the meantime, Goku's going to try and learn the Mafuba for himself, and all his friends are probably going to try and do that too because that's the only counter for Vegeta they have. Goku wishes he could find some sort of other way to defeat Vegeta, but this way he could still at least have a fight with him, and then if things get really bad, just Mafuba him. So what is Vegeta up to? Well, he doesn't really know what to do next. The only idea he has in mind is to go fight King Cold, so he does exactly that. Going to defeat King Cold, and it's pretty quick. It's way quicker than what happened with Frieza too. Vegeta is naturally victorious over King Cold, and now the Frieza Force has no leader. So he could just destroy the rest of the Frieza Force, or he could probably take it under his control. Like, he doesn't really have any use for it. I don't think he could go on some sort of conquest right now because he doesn't really have an end goal with that. But he could use the resources of the Frieza Force in his favor, and all those soldiers could be nice for him. Well, it's no Saiyan army, but at least it's something. And the Frieza Force numbers have dwindled a lot, but still, there's enough to work with. This is now the Vegeta Force. Also, it's kind of an ego trip for him to do this. He defeated Frieza and Cold, and now he runs the army. Also, he doesn't really need any Dragon Balls right now. He got what he wanted. He wonders if he should go to Earth though, but he doesn't really care anymore. He could settle the score with Kakarot, but that would be kind of pointless. Also, he is a bit curious as to what Kakarot's going to do in response, so it might be more interesting to give him some time, and that way Vegeta can enjoy the battle even more, instead of just going to Earth and winning with one shot. There's no fun in that. He knows Kakarot has it in him to at least do something. But either way, he's not really too obsessed over that right now because, well, he's going to win. He knows he won't lose. He can continue growing stronger too. He could still try and cheat Zenkai's, but it's going to lose effectiveness. It still does work, but he kind of has to lay off it. He does try this out, like he drops his guard and lets some of the weaker Frieza Force soldiers attack him, which they do reluctantly and realize Vegeta actually does want that, but it kind of has diminishing returns, especially because even with his guard dropped, it's kind of hard to kill him. He even tries to go out in space again, but it seems his body's even adapting to that weirdly enough. So it seems Zenkai's aren't going to give him as much of a boost anymore, and if he wants a boost from them in the first place, he's going to need an attack that actually does damage him. He could just fly himself into a star or something, but, you know, there's another way to grow stronger. He could just train. Plus, he'll go stronger during combat. That's the best way to grow. The next time he fights someone, he'll just grow that way. And amidst his aimless endeavors, one thing does cross Vegeta's mind. He wonders where his brother is. He gets the Vegeta Force to track him down. Vegeta's not really sure why he's doing this, but he's kind of bored. He only knows of two Saiyans out there, Kakarot and Tarble. Gohan too, of course, as a hybrid Saiyan. They eventually track down Tarble, and Vegeta doesn't really do anything about it. Tarble has heard of what's been going on. Frieza's been defeated, and Vegeta took over the army. Even over here, that news had spread. And he asked why Vegeta's here. Well, he asked if Tarble wants to join him. It would be nice to have another Saiyan around, even if Tarble's a bit weak. And that's not really Tarble's thing, but he asked what Vegeta's end goal is here too. No matter. He tells Tarble what he's accomplished, and he doesn't really have any specific plans yet. He just thought maybe it would be a good thing to see if any other Saiyans were out there. At the very least, his brother. And Tarble is pretty surprised to hear this. He's sure their father would be proud, but Vegeta doesn't really care about that. His father couldn't do what he did, nor could any other Saiyan for that matter. And Tarble can clearly see that Vegeta hasn't really changed much. He's very prideful, and actually it might be getting to his head a little bit more because of all the power he has. But Vegeta's no threat to him, thankfully. Also, Vegeta doesn't really have any aim here. He's taken over the Frieza Force and made it the Vegeta Force. Well, the Frieza Force's whole thing was taking over planets and making money from that, so maybe Vegeta can do that, and at least it'll give him some opportunities to fight. Unlike Frieza, he'll actually get his hands dirty, and he'll have fun with that. Let's go back to Earth. Of course, there's been no sign of Vegeta for a while, which is a good thing. They don't really want him coming there. In case he does, they are prepared though. Goku has visited King Kai during this time. Of course, he's been on Earth too, training a lot with Piccolo, and making sure to train Gohan up because if Vegeta comes back, he wants Gohan to be strong enough to fight him. But Goku has visited Otherworld a bit. King Kai's training has been really helpful. He's not too sure what to focus on next, so he's been working a lot with Kaioken and seeing if he can learn any other techniques, which leads to King Kai showing him some other people in Otherworld. So he picks up on a few interesting things there, but nothing he could really use right now. Although one thing in particular that he does find is there are some people from Yardrat, and he does learn about instant transmission. He also learns about the fusion dance pretty early on, although doesn't really focus on that at all. So he doesn't really pick up on too many new techniques, but hey, instant transmission is pretty cool. And with all this time in Otherworld, King Kai then eventually notices something strange about Goku. One day during training, he just collapses. King Kai tries to see what's wrong, and I'm assuming as a Kai he might have the power to even see this right away, but he comes to see that Goku's succumbed to some sort of virus. Thankfully he's in the right place for this. It's gotten really bad real quick. I'm sure King Kai would have some sort of access to some sort of healer, or something that can heal Goku. And essentially what happens here is Goku avoids the heart virus. It's a good thing he was in Otherworld because if he weren't here, well, he would have been sent to Otherworld. King Kai did him a favor and basically saved him from this. Spending a lot of time here training really worked out. Not just in terms of power, but it prevented Goku from dying permanently. Also, while in Otherworld, Goku learns more about the Saiyans. Of course, there's not really many people in the heaven part. Pretty much every Saiyan has been sent to hell, and no one's really kept their bodies either. But he does hear a bunch of stories about Saiyans, and there were some good ones in the past which he can't seem to find up here. Also, he learns more about the universe around him. He hears about something called the Demon Realm, but not really too much about that. Basically, all this time in Otherworld means Goku's gonna get a lot of good info. But it's all very broad and nothing he could really act on or use against Vegeta. Same for his techniques too. So he continues training here and keeps all this new info in mind. Even if Vegeta is immortal, Goku will find a way to grow stronger and defeat him. The Mafuba is still an option, but he wants to figure out if there's any other way because that would be way more entertaining for him. Plus, it'll improve him even further. In case you couldn't tell by Goku suffering from the heart virus, soon enough the androids will show up. Thankfully by the time they show up, Goku gets back to Earth pretty quickly. He could just teleport there. Kami tells King Kai and King Kai tells Goku. Someone is attacking Earth and they can't really tell who because they don't have any energy to sense. But once they pinpoint the city that's being attacked and they see something on the news about it, they could pretty easily tell. These are androids. They have no ki to sense, and one is wearing the logo of the Red Ribbon Army. Also, in case it wasn't clear, there's no future timeline here because Goku never died, no one traveled in the past, and that also means the androids that appear are 17 and 18, not 19 and 20. So there's no future Trunks, future Gohan, or anything, just this timeline. And there's nothing Goku can really do here. He's pretty much thrust into battle right away, alongside all of his friends. He's not sure if the Mafuba is going to work on the androids, and it's kind of risky to try anyways. Because first of all, he doesn't even have a container, and even if he did, it takes a lot of focus and power to use, and if he uses that and it doesn't end up actually catching them because they have no energy, well, then he just wasted a bunch of power for nothing. I'm sure it would work on them because they're cyborgs, not androids. But Goku doesn't know that right off the bat. From what he could tell, they're just purely mechanical, which means it probably wouldn't even work. Also, not really his style, he'd rather actually beat them. There is also the fusion dance, but he doesn't have time to teach to anyone, nor could he actually perform it with anyone here because he'd have to lower his power a lot. Goku is the strongest of the group right now, by a pretty big margin. Piccolo also does have the option of fusing with Kami if he wants here, which definitely could defeat the androids, but he's caught up in the battle right now and can't really do that, and it's risky. It would mean that they have no Dragon Balls left, so if anyone dies here, which a bunch of civilians already have, they won't be able to bring them back unless they go to Namek again or something, but Namek's gone. They've already moved. So they're in a really tough spot. They just need to fight the androids right now and see if they can defeat them. Given all the changes so far, it's pretty safe to say that the androids are probably way weaker than normal, especially with the fact that there's no time travel here. Goku, on the other hand, is in a really weird spot because he's weaker than normal in the sense that he doesn't have Super Saiyan, but in terms of his base, he's grown pretty much to where he should be. I'd also say Gohan's above normal, and pretty much everyone else too, because they've been training seriously. They thought Vegeta would come back, and they needed to prepare for that. And of course, another big upside is the fact that Goku's not dead here while fighting the androids, so at least they have him. But still, it's not easy. Goku has grown much better with Kaioken. He can push it to around times 50, but he can only use that in very short bursts, and when he actually does that, he can damage the androids a bit. The thing is that of course does harm him, and he can't use it consistently throughout battle. It puts way too much strain on his body, but he can at least use times 20 without too much struggle, so he has to kind of stick with that. But it isn't enough. The Z fighters start getting defeated one by one, and the androids decide to play around a bit. They know Goku's holding back that full power of his, and they kind of want to see it drawn out because if he draws that out, it'll make the fight a lot more interesting for androids 17 and 18. They'll still be able to win and have the advantage, but come on, a challenge would make it a lot more interesting. They tell Goku they'll kill his friends one by one until he actually brings that out. It's kind of like a game to them. First, they start with Krillin. Ironically, Android 18 is the one to do the deed, grabbing him by his gi, throwing him up in the air, and then launching a bunch of ki blasts at him with her brother. And a lifeless Krillin falls to the ground. A really big mistake on their part. Krillin can't be revived anymore. Earth Dragon Balls won't work, and they don't know where Namek is now. In Goku's eyes, at least for this moment, he fully believes he just watched his best friend die permanently. And it was a brutal sight for Gohan too. He's grown so much closer to Krillin over this time, especially after Namek. and returning to Earth, he spent a lot more time with Krillin. It's its father's best friend. Krillin's basically his uncle. It's horrifying for everyone else to see too. But it triggers something in Goku and Gohan. Goku feels a type of rage that he's never felt before. He hasn't felt something like this since Krillin last died, or after seeing his friends die from Vegeta and Nappa. But this rage is even beyond that, and Gohan feels the same thing. A powerful gust of wind bursts through the city that they're fighting, generated for both Goku and Gohan. What happens next is pretty much simultaneous. Together, the two of them transform, going Super Saiyan for the first time. The tide of the battle changes completely. Now Goku has that same boost in power, but he's not having the drawbacks of Kaioken. Plus, Gohan's involved too. And with their combined power, they're not stronger than both the androids together, but they're much stronger than one android individually. Goku can see that Gohan's undergone the same change, and he's not sure what this is, but he'll have to guide Gohan through this. They fight together. First, taking on Android 18, defeating her pretty quickly. Next is Android 17, who tries to fight, but it's pretty hopeless for him. He's against two Super Saiyans, and he's overpowered. The fight got drastic pretty quickly, but at least it also ended pretty quickly. And now Goku and Gohan are left with this new power that they know nothing about. And it's great that the androids have been defeated, but there's still a huge issue here. The androids killed a bunch of people in the city, and Krillin's dead too. The people who died here could at least be brought back by Shenron, but Krillin can't. Now with the fight over, they've calmed down. They need to figure out what to do next. Of course, they're going to look more into that power that they just got. Goku's pretty surprised that Gohan got the same thing too, but he could tell they both felt the same type of rage at Krillin's death. Now they need to try and find Namek somehow. The good thing is, Goku has been in contact with King Kai a lot more. So in the moment, Goku thought that Krillin was permanently gone, but now that he's more level-headed, there's an easy way to bring him back. Go to King Kai, find where the Namekians are now, and then just teleport there. Goku pretty much immediately does that, teleporting to King Kai, finding new Namek, and then teleporting there. The old Namek is still intact, but no one lives there. It's kind of a decoy in case Vegeta comes back, that way he doesn't know the Namekians are still alive. And when Goku gets new Namek, he learns that Mori's the new Elder, and the Dragon Balls have been upgraded. One wish is enough to revive everybody killed by the androids, including Krillin, which is good. That got pretty easily reversed. But Mori wants to know what happened in the first place. Of course, he's glad to help Goku, but he wonders, did Vegeta come back to Earth? No, it was actually a completely different threat, so he explains, and also tells Mori about that new power that he got, which is kind of interesting to Mori because he didn't know Saiyans had a power like that. At least, not normally. He feels like he saw something about it in the Namekian Book of Legends. It's something called a Super Saiyan or something. Well, at least Goku knows what it's called now, and he thanks Mori for the help. Leaving pretty quickly before Mori can even mention any more. He didn't even mention the book by name, he just mentioned that he knew about Super Saiyan. There was some sort of legend about it. And it makes him curious. He goes to look at the Book of Legends, looking more into what a Super Saiyan is, and also finds out about a Super Saiyan God, which is completely different and he actually didn't know about. He wishes Goku got to see this, but if he ever visits again, he'll be sure to tell him. At least now, Goku kinda knows what he's working with, and same for Gohan. They'll train even further. The best part for them is, Vegeta has no clue about their developments, and he doesn't know what a Super Saiyan is yet. With that, we'll leave off here for now. What do you guys think about this part and what's going to happen next? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.